This week, there has been growing concern about Meghan Markle's, shall we say, hands off, cold, and I think deeply troubling parenting, especially now that she is prepared to commercialize the poor souls who we are told are Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. This picture in particular of Archie gripping Meghan's legs has caused some consternation, let alone the fact that, of course, she is sharing these pictures specifically to try and sell product on a platform that she has previously specifically campaigned against because she claims that she believes in children's safety. P-Dina, royal YouTube sensation, is with me now. What do you make of the growing concerns, not only over these photos, P-Dina, which, let's be honest, do look quite dodgy. They do look photoshopped. Archie's leg in the same position that it was in the previous picture. But even if we say that this is a genuine photograph, P-Dina, isn't it concerning?
Yeah, that just looked so cringe to me. When I saw that, I was like, ugh, what in the world? Why would you post that? I mean, it just is like you don't have any good judgment at all. Like it just looks completely inappropriate. Archie, like you said, does seem to be in the same position as another photo. His hair looks, the color of his hair looks photoshopped. It to me, Megan is just playing games. You know, that whole photo of her with Archie even running towards her looks Photoshop. It doesn't look okay to do that to me personally. It's to me completely inappropriate.
All right, folks, we need to talk about this latest Meghan Markle controversy. This time it's about her own son, Prince Archie. Now, if you've seen the pictures making the rounds, you probably noticed something off, something weird, something that doesn't quite sit right. Dan Wootton and royal commentator P-Dina have brought up serious concerns over these recent photos of Archie. And let's be honest, they don't look natural at all. Some people are pointing out that the images appear photoshopped, from the color of his hair to his oddly stiff pose. And that's just the beginning.
Megan, it's not about you all the time. You need to understand that you have put your child in a position, or this kid, whoever this kid is, to in a position that looks like you don't do that. You don't try to show things like that. That was intentional in terms of posting, right? It wasn't like an accidental shot of a child taking a picture of hugging their mother. You intentionally put that on your Instagram. And I just think that's a big mistake. I know, I think it was even from last year. It's not even a current photo, right? I mean, that photo, I think, is from last year.
Yes, indeed, because it was when she did the shoot, which was delayed. Because at that point, P-Dina, we believed that this was going to be a brand called American Riviera Orchard. Thing is, I have reported for a long time about Meghan Markle's parenting. It's not an easy thing to talk about because, of course, you do give parents a little bit of slack. They're going to do things in their own way. Everyone does things a little bit differently. But remember, P-Dina, I was the first to report that she had burned through a whole succession of nannies in just 2 weeks. And at that point, or just 6 weeks, sorry. And at that point, of course, I was told, oh, but it's nothing to do with Meghan and Harry and their parenting. It's all about these nannies. These nannies are not up to scratch. And the reality is that there are consequences for being a very hands-off parent. And we know that Meghan is. And by the way, this isn't the first time that someone in the royal family has been a hands-off parent. The late Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, because of their duty, they were hands-off parents. King Charles was a hands-off parent. So this isn't just about criticism, it is a reality. But I think the frustration here is that Meghan presents herself as some type of earth mother, constantly looking after her kids. And again, just like most of her life, P-Dina, that is a false narrative.
Yeah, she wants to portray something that she is not. And that's what we see. We get it. We see what you're doing, Meghan. We're not stupid. And so you come out and you try to play yourself as somebody who is this very hands-on mother, but we see you trying to make millions with this new branding with your cosmetics or whatever it is that you're selling and trying to make yourself be this hands-on parent when you're clearly not. And it's like this false narrative that people always have to watch with Meghan try to be something to be relatable, but it's not something that people are going to gravitate towards because we see it. We understand that this woman is not coming to people legitimately with like sincerely. She can't even humble herself for the sake of the work she was doing with within the royal palace. Like this woman has a mission to try to make as much money as she can. She doesn't care if she throws her kids under a bus. She doesn't care if her husband loses everything. She is about getting what she wants. And that's what we see. This is why she'll never get it, because we're following along with all the nefarious things that she is doing. And we're on to her. She's not going to win people over by having this kind of majestic, I'm better than you kind of attitude, and I'm a woman and I do all these things for my children. I'm hands-on. And we look at you like, no, you're not. That's a lie and a fraud. That's what you are, Meghan. So it's really, to me, astounding how this woman really is. I've never seen anything like this before. And there's just so much there. And in the meantime, Dan, what's happening? Her husband, these children are going to be the ones that are going to be the biggest losers. You mark my words.
And you've been very consistent on that. Very, very consistent on that. And of course, there is this growing fear that the only reason Harry is trying to make this work is because the dawning realization that otherwise he loses the children is coming. And we saw earlier in the week, P-Dina, Meghan post this very bizarre Instagram of the birds, right? The birds flying in Montecito. And again, this was all because of the criticism that she had received on social media about the fact that it was Sunday morning. She wasn't with her children. She wasn't with Prince Harry. But, she spoke about my H. There was a lot of ownership going on. What did you make of it?
Look at this photo. Does it look real to you? Or does it look like someone tweaked it just a little too much? And let's not forget, these aren't just family pictures. Meghan is deliberately sharing these images while launching her new brand, American Riviera Orchard. So the real question is this about parenting or is this just another PR stunt?
I think she's just trying to say or attach herself to Harry because I think there is a loss of attachment. Something is amiss. I think when you try to put out this much about my husband this and my husband that, you're trying to make up for something that's not there. And I think H really isn't there. I think there is a separation of some kind happening, and she has to overcompensate for that by putting out these meaningless, stupid little, I guess, Instagram posts to make people believe something that is really not there. That's what I make out of it. It's like, go get your popcorn. She going to go do something now. Okay, what you going to do? Oh, okay. That's a lie because Meghan, I think no one like Harry can truly be aligned with Meghan right now when all the work he has done has been against the things that she's doing with all these social media posts. He's talked about social media harming people. What, you're going to align with your husband on social media posts now? Like, no. I think there's
making a fool of him. She is making a fool of him, and he has to accept it because he's effectively done a deal with the devil, which is, I don't want to make money. I just want to do my philanthropy. I just want to be able to go and visit people and shake their hands, and I don't actually want to do any hard work. So again, she is controlling that relationship. She is wearing the trousers because at the end of the day, she wants to become a billionaire. She thinks that she knows how to become a billionaire. Now, whether that is a reality or not, whether that is fanciful or not, right now it's not Harry that's bringing in the money at all. And so even though it's his title that she needs to make the money, on a practical basis at the moment, it is almost empowering her. And of course, we saw a major propaganda piece released this week, P-Dina. And because we've got a bit more time, I want to actually go through this in some depth. So it's Us Weekly. And they are a propagandist for Meghan Markle, but even they know that they can't be too positive in the presentation. They say, can Meghan ever win over the world? Because they know full well that even though they are her propagandists because they rely on access from her, actually the public are not with her. Now, this article is fascinating, P-Dina, in lots of ways, actually. But before we dig into it, what I want to do is watch what I think is quite an embarrassing video from the editor of Us Weekly, Dan Wootton, who is doing his best to present Meghan Markle in a positive light. And that's not easy because of everything going on. But let's watch this first, P-Dina. What, there's a lot to be learned from being a psychopathic narcissist, okay. But I mean, P-Dina, the whole premise of this Us Weekly article, this Us Weekly cover, is completely wrong because the world did give Meghan Markle a chance. In fact, the world gave Meghan Markle a chance time and time and time again, especially Americans and especially in the US media. It was her behavior over many, many years that became undeniable. So I would argue the whole premise of this article is so sort of almost like gaslighty.
Here's what doesn't add up. Meghan Markle has spent years complaining about the press invading her children's privacy. She left the UK because she wanted to protect them, right? But now, all of a sudden she's posting staged pictures of Archie right when she's trying to sell her brand? The hypocrisy is wild. It's always the same pattern. She plays the victim when it benefits her, but when she needs attention or wants to push a product, suddenly the kids are front and center.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we have given her a chance. She was doing something that is not very common for people to be able to do. She married into the royal family. And I think what she did with that opportunity set the tone for why this article has been written. I think this article does not really look at how egregious what she has done to the royal family has been to a lot of people, because I myself am very much a royalist now, but think about the people that live that in the UK, that the queen of their country, and all that, the attachment people have to that. And then when someone like Meghan comes in, she completely destroys the whole concept of what that is supposed to mean. And Harry had a job to do. He was supposed to be there to support his brother as the king when he is to become the king. And now Meghan has torn away something that has been planned since before, I think, his birth with Diana. And so this is how deep-seated and how so attached people are to what Meghan has actually done. And that's what I think Hollywood people don't understand. You have to go back to what Harry's purpose was supposed to be. And Meghan has ripped that purpose away from what the intentions were for the monarchy, for Princess Diana, Princess of Wales. And people feel that is not okay. That is not, we cannot forgive you for what you have done, Meghan. And then when you top that with your arrogance, your complete drive for billions on top of what you have done to our family, our people, our prince, we cannot forgive that. And I think that's how deep it goes, Dan. And people in Hollywood don't get it. They don't understand. I don't think they even want to understand it. You mentioned it briefly in this piece, right? But really look at what Meghan was supposed to do when she married into the monarchy, what the interviews she had, the engagement interview, what the plans were, and how she stepped over on the people, what she's done to the members of the family, and how she has behaved. It is that kind of behavior that has made people so feel so strongly about Meghan. And people are not looking at that aspect of it. That's why they don't get it. They'll never get it. This is why he'll always ask that question about, why people are so critical. Well, go back to the queen, the late queen, Diana. to understand why what Meghan has done is so polarizing to people. Because it's only then will you truly understand what this woman has done. Because I bet you, like I said before, if Meghan came into your family doing this to your grandmama and your son, would you forgive her, Dr. Shola? Would you forgive her if she
No.
did this to your
No.
late father?
No. No, you
No.
would not. No,
So
you
don't
would
expect
not.
us to. Right. That is what we're
You
talking
would be
about.
devastated. And let's be honest, you'd hate the woman.
So which is it, Meghan? Are you protecting Archie or are you using him for PR? And let's talk about her actual parenting style. There have been so many reports that Meghan is hands-off and more focused on her brand deals than her kids. Sources close to the Sussexes say she spends more time with Hollywood power players than with Archie and Lilibet.
You would hate
You
the woman for
would?
tearing your family apart. And I found it fascinating, P-Dina, that just this week, Graydon Carter, who knew Princess Diana, I mean, we just saw Princess Diana in that LBD, remember that famous night when Prince Charles, as he was then, admitted adultery, and Princess Diana went to see Graydon Carter at this event wearing the dress that stole all of the attention from the interview where
Right.
Charles admitted that he had cheated on her with now Queen Camilla. And Graydon Carter, who knew Diana very well, not only said that Meghan Markle was detached from reality, but said Diana would be absolutely mortified, devastated by the way that Meghan Markle had ended that relationship between Prince William and Prince Harry.
Absolutely, because this is something that goes very deep into the history, the everything about Diana, the planning around the children, and then finally he
No,
comes into the
wasn't.
grown man and look at what you do. It's really bad, and that's what people need to understand. And I'm glad he spoke out about that because I think that really shows us some insight into how people that understand what has happened, how they feel. And if people only knew what we know, they would understand why people don't really like Meghan. It's really deep, why we feel this way about her. It's almost like I said before, it's just like she's trying to throw her nose up in the air to us, and that she continues on her endeavors and trying to make her billions with all the bad that she has done to people. It's like, wait a minute, look what you did to us. And now you're going to try to go make money off of that. You're going to try to now become a billionaire off of the things you've done to our closely aligned connection and to our family and to what we have a connection to. You're going to try to go out now and be a billionaire off of that. I mean, no, we're not going to allow you to go do that. We're all for women empowerment and all that stuff. But girl, you got some atoning to do. You've done a few things that you need to show some humility towards. And that's what she's not doing. She completely just discards it as, oh, well, I did what I did to those people. Now let me move on to live my life and just be a billionaire while, trying to make her money. And that's the problem we have.
Now, I want to actually go through the article with you because they've given access, actually quite a lot of access to their inner circle, which is quite fascinating to me, given they're now working so closely with Us Weekly because everyone's turned their back. An absolute tabloid, remembering how much they hate the tabloids. But anyway, in this article, Meredith Maines is quoted, the CCO for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, in other words, their communications woman. And she says, Meghan is embarking on a number of business ventures as an entrepreneur and working mom. The constant scrutiny is motivated by clickbait and systems that make sport out of attacking women. I hope that readers pause and ask why publications are so interested in clicks at the expense of a founder, a woman, a mom who is creating and building. As Meghan deploys her brand, show, and podcast, we're looking forward to partnering with outlets that want to understand the business story and the power of brand building by a founder. I mean, P-Dina, please. But that's effectively out of Meghan's mouth, and it just shows you she is completely tone deaf. She never looks at her own behavior. She never believes that the stories that have been written, by the way, by left-wing publications that used to love her, might be because of her treatment of people. Never. It's always our fault. It's always the system's fault. Somehow one of the most privileged women in the world, P-Dina, is a victim.
Even in these photos, it looks more like a staged moment for Instagram than a genuine mother-son interaction. It's just weird. Now here's where things get really suspicious. Multiple sources have pointed out that the picture Meghan posted of Archie looks exactly like an older photo. Same pose, same leg position, almost like it was just recycled. And if that's the case, why? If this is true, then Meghan didn't just use her son for PR. She couldn't even bother to take a new picture. She just reused an old one and possibly photoshopped it to fit her latest narrative.
She is not a victim. This woman is anything but a victim. As a matter of fact, she's the kind of person that stokes the fire. She wants, I think, to have all this backlash so she can look at what they're doing to me, and trying to make herself more of a victim. But this woman has had every opportunity. And at some point, you have to atone for what you have done. You have got to be a better person and be kind and treat people. I mean, people seem to forget the allegations around the bullying that came out of not only in America, but over in the UK as well. Like, this woman has done harmful things to women. And now you're going to try to go and talk about women empowerment and talk about business and women. And, no, you need to talk about, what you have done and why it's not okay to treat people the way you have treated them. I just can't think that people would ever just overlook all the things that Meghan has done and try to look at her trying to do this podcast in this business now and like, oh, okay, go do you, girl. It's like, no, you've left some damage. You've done some things that people can't forgive you for because you're just making it worse by your attitude. So I just think people like this lady speaking like this. I mean, you had to pick Meghan. You got to go pick somebody who, we don't know that much about in terms of, the things that they may have done. We know way too much about Meghan because it's so public what she's done. And that's what makes it even worse. She's publicly done these things for the whole world to see. And she doesn't even try to hide it. I mean, she couldn't even stay in the royal family, for goodness sake, to try to let the royal family and their work rub off on her a little bit. She's just so abrasive about what she does. And it's like she shows up to try to say, okay, look at this. It's like, we can't look at this because of this. You've left marks.
Totally.
You've left dead bodies on the street, woman. Something is wrong.
And we can't forget it because also these were the final days on earth for the late Queen Elizabeth II. It's interesting, though, further down the article, an expert, I think a communications expert, does actually say if Meghan had just stayed in the royal family, learned some lessons from the royal family, by now she'd probably be one of the most respected women in the world, just a little bit behind Catherine, the Princess of Wales. Instead, she's having to pimp out people like Emily Sorrells, who's a fangirl, and that's fine. It's good that there are some fangirls, and this is someone who Meghan knows from the TIG. And this woman is quoted in Us Weekly as saying, the projects Meghan has been working on recently reflect a side of her I have known for years. She has always felt she's always felt a responsibility to use her platform to make a positive impact. In her role as the founder of the TIG, she spoke openly and vulnerably about her own life and allowed others to do the same. In the process, she created a community and connected with us all on everything from travel and food to mental health and community service. But the thing is, P-Dina, I don't care what Emily Sorrells has to say about this until Meghan Markle publicly disassociates herself from the Sussex Squad. Because remember, I have researched them for years. They are the nastiest, dirtiest gang in the history of the internet. They are the biggest trolls in the history of the internet. So Emily Sorrells can say all she wants about the TIG being a responsible platform, but Meghan Markle has done nothing to distance herself from the Sussex Squad. And until she does, I'm sorry, it's just meaningless drivel.
That's next level deceitful, and it raises a huge question. What is she hiding? Why won't we ever see Archie and Lilibet live on camera? Why are we always getting edited, staged, and possibly fake photos? Are the Sussexes hiding something? Or is this just another case of Meghan manipulating the media? Look, let's be real, Hollywood sees through this. Meghan has been playing the same game for years, but it's starting to backfire. Even the people who used to support her are distancing themselves. She lost Spotify, Netflix is reportedly frustrated with her, and now this weird photo scandal is only making things worse.
Right. Meghan hasn't been responsible in her association to them. She hasn't been responsible in her behavior towards people, you know, and what she said there, you know, she's known Meghan to do these things and what she's striving to for years. Yeah, that's also part of the problem because that was what she wanted to do in the pre-Harry days. So she wanted to do what she always wanted to do, what? On the back of her husband and his family, using the royal family. You can go use somebody's family, but don't you approach on our family, our royal family. You know, so Meghan has done things, and like you said, her association with Sussex Squad is even more to that list that I talked about. This woman has done a lot of bad things, and that association to what they've done, I've seen what they've done even to Samantha Markle. I've seen the evidence of all that. And that is so horrible. Like you should go to jail for some of the things that they did, the threats that they did towards Samantha. And this is what Meghan aligns herself with, you know. So people can try to say all they want to pay attention. She's just a woman doing whatever. No, but this woman has done so many things that she already knew she wanted to do before she married into the royal family. You know, she's just picking up where she left off before she met Harry, right? I mean, that shows you that shows pre-planning. That shows, what's the word when you calculate something before you actually do it? Premeditated. You know, that's what Meghan has done. She premeditated everything that she is doing right now before she married into the royal family. And the royal family gave her a chance. And what did she do? She threw them under a bus, kicked them to the curb, spit in their face. And now she's in America trying to finish what she started, what she always wanted to do. And that, my friends, is unforgivable. I'm sorry.
No, it really is. And of course, this article is trying to reposition Meghan, and they just fail on this front. And I think Meghan Markle should learn more from Victoria Beckham, actually, who has never tried to move away from the fact that actually she can be a little bit cold in public. But according to a source who they say know the couple well, and let me read this quote to you. They say, I've seen Meghan at a happier time in her life where she's carefree and she's actually really funny. She likes to dance and sing, is kind of a dog in the best way. I think she's between the place of where she feels what people want from her and what she knows triggers people to keep herself kind of relevant. I don't think we've ever seen her consistently be herself. And look, so at least I guess they're admitting that we're not seeing the real Meghan, but this idea that she's some sort of dorky, funny geek. I mean, come on, P-Dina, it's just the opposite.
That's
She's a
just
mean
her.
girl. She's a mean girl.
It's not just the British press calling this out. Even in America, people are catching on. You can only cry victim so many times before people start seeing the pattern. And let's be honest, this latest stunt with Archie is just one more reason why Meghan and Harry's credibility is plummeting. So here's the real question. Will Meghan Markle ever stop using PR tricks to control her narrative? Will she ever put her kids first instead of staging photo ops and playing the victim? Or is this just who she is?
Yeah, that's just her being uncomfortable and trying to let out how, you know, uncomfortable it is. I think she's just somebody that wants to force being liked. She just can't relax and be herself because I think truly, you know, and a lot of people, we know how to do the right thing, especially when we know better, we do better. But Meghan, she knows better, but she chooses not to do better because she doesn't even know how to be aligned with who she is as a person. That's why she's always seemed so fake and phony. She's just so pretentious and uncaring that people just don't really look at her and feel anything for her that's nice and cuddly. You know, it's just like we look at her and we have this feeling that we can't pinpoint that there's something about you that just is not very likable, and it's how you are as a person. It's just not genuine. She's genuinely not a genuine person.
It's very well
And that
put.
I don't like.
Very well put. She genuinely is anything other than genuine. Now, what's
Right.
particularly interesting about this article is that Kelly McKee-Zadgfen has spoken out. Now, this is the woman who last week Meghan described as her bestie in that video, Making a Banana Split. And I mean, oh, God, this quote, I mean, it makes me sick. I feel bad that I even have to read it out, to be totally honest. But come on, let's do it, because clearly this is something that her and Meghan have cooked up together. Kelly tells us weekly she shines so brightly in what she is so clearly meant to do. It comes so naturally to her because this is who she is every day. making fun projects for the kids, always hosting, being so thoughtful with each guest that walks through the door. Everyone feels like the home. It's a beautiful thing to see someone you love step fully into their light. And that final line alone, P-Dina, makes me not want to have anything to do with their friendship, which is clearly very woo-woo and not at all anchored in any form of reality.
Oh my goodness. It's like this other person that I knew that worked with Megan on Suits, and they talked about what a nice person she is and all these things. And it's like, but knows nothing about the royal family. And I think people like this friend of hers, they see the side of Megan that Megan wants her to see. Okay. She's not going to show up being the real, like, inauthentic kind of a person, how she treats people. She's not going to show up and treat her friend like that. Her friend is only going to see the best side of her. Well, of course, you're only going to say nice and good things about her because you're seeing her in the way she's really wants you to truly see her as this fake, nice person, but, she's let her mask slip a few times and people have really seen the real Megan. Let me tell you something, girl, she's not a nice person. Okay. So you can try to say all you want that she's great and she shows up and she's all these things. That's not what we know. That's not who a lot of people have seen. Go ask the royal family that. Go ask her ex-staff members. Yeah. So, people that say that, she's going to need a lot of friends to do this for her, to make people believe anything other than what we already know. Okay. So yeah, her friends are just saying things because, they just see that of Megan and she really elevates these people because she wants them to speak nicely of her, So Megan is just one of those people that they only come around every so often. And man, she has come along in a big way, how she has showed up. And the world is going to let her know that we're not going to forget. We see you. We see the real you, Megan. Your friend doesn't, but we see the real you. Okay.
At the end of the day, this latest scandal is telling. If Meghan truly wanted privacy for her children, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But instead, she keeps using them for attention and branding. And if she's doing this now, what's next? Alright folks, that's it for today's reaction. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe for more royal commentary, and drop a comment below. Do you think Meghan Markle is being unfairly criticized, or is she deliberately manipulating the media? Let's talk about it.